everybody. Welcome to Female Film Critics panel. And this the show where I love talking with content creators and film critics and theater critics, anybody who is an awesome woman working today. And today I'm very excited because we have Sarah Lovett with us. And Sarah, this is your first time on the podcast. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little about what you do as far as film and theater goes.
Sure. Well, I'm more so just like a freelance
Yeah.
baddie. I'm just kind of doing my thing. I live out here in New York and
Uh-huh.
I do work for a publication. I work for MovieWeb, so
Uh-huh.
that's sort of my film critic
That's
niche
awesome.
particularly.
Yeah.
But I also write reviews, just on my own content creation wise on
Uh-huh.
Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
on the web, wherever
Yeah.
you have it, and then try to see shows as much as I can and also create content about that. And I just try to
Uh-huh.
do it in like a fun, approachable, I guess
Yeah.
unpretentious way that's sort of like you would be talking to your friend because I think that
Um,
that's kind of how we all like to consume stuff anyway.
yeah.
And so I'm kind of trying to, both from like, I think a gendered perspective as a woman in the space and just from a
Hmm.
consumer perspective, kind of get rid of sort of the mystique around criticism and
Hmm.
just have fun with it because I'm
Yeah.
trying to be like, yeah, is this something that we would enjoy? And is this something that I think is helpful and doing a good job of not hurting people
Mm.
in the world?
I love that too. Like get rid of
Yeah,
the ivory tower aspect of criticism,
absolutely. Yeah.
that really I like to think that we are like a quality critic is I think more of an advocate for the art itself, even though you're criticizing things. But yeah, I like to think of us as sort of we're the advocates for film and theater as a
Absolutely.
as a whole.
Right. Like I like to like things is sort of my um slogan
Yeah.
to use. And right, I started doing this because I come from a place of I love movies and
Hmm.
I love
Yeah.
theater and I so yeah, absolutely. It
So
starts there.
so how did you first get interested in both film and theater
Ooh, I mean,
growing
that's
up?
a great question. I used to watch like 8 hours of TV a day
Okay. Yeah.
um as a child, which I don't know if it's make of that what you will. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but I've just always been drawn more than anything to storytelling. Like it's just been my bread and butter. So like I've always been drawn to the fictional world more than I have the real world, I guess.
Yeah. Me too. Because my
Yeah.
parents are not into like media really hardly at all.
Yeah.
My dad will watch sports, but I can't think of a single show that my mom has been like a fan of or invested in or
Really?
seeing. She'll go to an occasional film, but very she's just not like she likes to read. That's more her thing. Which I like to read too, but like it's just they kind of look at me sort of baffled, like who is this person that we created?
How did this happen?
They're not. They. I mean, my dad he likes theater a lot more, live performers, which I get. But just neither of them are that invested in film or other mediums. Like I don't know, it's just I've never met anybody else who doesn't have like their I feel like almost everybody has their thing, like whether it's a band they're super into or a show that they love or
I'm
like
sure that like kind of got
has
them into it.
yeah, but my parents they don't.
They just
They just don't.
don't
You know,
like
yeah, my mom likes to like sew and knit and art. She loves to paint, but just
right.
not
That's so
not
that's so
media.
healthy. Yeah.
So I was always like,
Yeah.
and sometimes I would have to sneak the most ridiculous shows. I'm like, what on earth? Like I would have to sneak Saved by the Bell. I wasn't allowed to watch
I was
that.
I was speaking Glee.
Oh
a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
that would
that was
be.
my big, that was my big, like, yeah. But and eventually they just kind of acquiesced and were
Yeah.
like, you can watch Glee because you're, but
The
yeah.
one they compromised on is they would let us watch The Simpsons, which was actually like a pretty
Oh,
big that was
yeah.
a pretty big compromise because it was on Sundays. So that was sort of ooh, and
Yeah.
but my mom and dad, felt like it was smart, well written. So that, it's like
That's, I've met a
that's
lot of
okay.
people that, well, SpongeBob is sort of the great
Okay, yeah.
test
I can
of
see that.
sort of, at least a lot of people in my generation I've met, like their parents, there's a divide of
Uh-huh.
would parents let us watch SpongeBob or not, because it was kind of a similar
Yeah.
thing, like people, I guess, like the humor, the interesting thing was that parents would like kind of decide that the humor wasn't to a high enough standard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The sort of, which I think is
Because
interesting.
it's more of a like SpongeBob is more sort of like a sarcastic humor.
I guess
You
so.
know what I mean? Than like
Right. Then the
jokes.
it's not like a right. I don't know.
I
I
can
just
see
always,
that.
it's interesting, the kind of
Yeah.
person that grows up not having watched SpongeBob is a very different person
Yeah.
than
That's true.
I think. So
What do
probably,
you think of the SpongeBob musical,
oh,
Broadway?
I love it,
Uh,
actually. I
yeah.
think, I'm all about like getting rid of these IP, like the number of these IP music.
Yeah.
I'm all about the original musicals and everything. But I think that the SpongeBob musical uniquely was a lot of fun and really like salient in its
Hmm.
messaging. And I think the music's really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I I liked it in some ways, certainly the spectacle of it, and there's some good songs. I just wish, like, the whole gimmick of them having a different songwriter for every song, I think is a
Mhm.
little, I don't know if it quite
Yeah.
works. And I f- I would I was expecting because I love Shrek the musical. I think Shrek the musical is absolutely hilarious and some really good songs. I it's my favorite aside from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. That's my favorite in the Shrek family. But
It's your
then it
favorite
would be
track.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and then Shrek the musical would be my one and two favorite
Really
things
solid. Yeah.
ever. So I was expecting it to be more like that. Maybe that was part of the problem. So I was like, this isn't that funny.
Yeah.
It was sort of this weird apocalyptic story, and like,
Right. I think I was the first time I consumed it, I didn't see
yeah.
it on, in person. I saw the
Oh, you saw the pro shot?
pro shot. And so it was peak COVID. And so the
Oh, yeah.
like weird apocalyptic story,
Yeah, I can see
I
that.
was I was sort of like, whoa, this is really moving me. This is,
Yeah,
but
I can see that.
it certainly is
Yeah.
strange. Like
It's
it
it's
is.
a it's a it's yeah, it's definitely different.
Are you a fan of Rachel's reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a patron. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
So, do you remember the first Broadway show you ever saw?
Yes, I believe so. The first show I ever saw on tour was Wicked. I saw that
Okay.
in El Paso, Texas. Like the full
Oh,
thing
yeah.
was, obviously life-changing. Deep Blue,
Yeah.
all of that core memory. But then I saw like on actual Broadway, I went on the eighth grade trip,
Yeah.
um,
Uh-huh.
and I saw The Lion King. So
Oh, two
both
really
really
good.
classic, like cornerstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good intro. Yeah, that's really good. The very first Broadway type show that I ever saw was Phantom in San
Ooh,
Francisco.
wow.
Yeah, my grandma got me the Best of Andrew Lloyd Webber cassette tape. I'm a
Yes.
hair older than you. She got me that, and I listened to it nonstop. I loved it so much. That's why I can never hate Andrew Lloyd Webber as much as some people. I
Oh,
just as
I
it was
was
my introduction to musical theater.
yes,
You know,
no, totally. I
it
had
has
the box set that had the four pro shots.
uh
It was Joseph, it was Cats, it was oh, what else did it have?
Evita.
Evita, yeah. And then
Yeah.
it had
Jesus
something
Christ
else.
Superstar.
Yeah.
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 That oh man. Or Joseph maybe.
Yeah, it had Joseph Katz, Evita, and Jesus Christ Superstar on it.
Oh man, that's so cool.
It was all
Yeah, yeah. He delivers the spectacle,
he does. He
you know.
does.
And so it was a great one to be my first show. And then I saw Les Mis was my first actual
Mm,
on Broadway. I did ninth grade trip.
ninth grade trip there.
Yeah, ninth grade trip with my high school, and yeah, we got the choice. You could either see Cats or you could see Les
Yes.
Mis.
Good choice.
And at that point, the 10th anniversary concert had come out not too
Oh,
long,
yeah.
right around this time, and so it was on PBS like every day, and I loved it so much. I I knew literally every line
Yes.
to with Les Mis. It was hardcore.
That's me with Les Mis too.
Yeah.
I like the musical theater moment that I think like changed me and got me into it was seeing the objectively really bad film adaptation
Oh
of
yeah.
which like maybe is my favorite movie to this day. Um, in 2020,
Yeah.
my parents like took me to the theater. They didn't even know they were going to. They just were like, let's go to the
Yeah.
movies. We need to like do something with the kids, get them out of the house for a couple hours, and they took us randomly to see
Yeah.
that. I
I
had like
I get it that it's got lots of problems. For sure, but I don't know. I can't hate it.
oh, me either. Oh, it's magic. Yeah, it's it's the best
Yeah.
movie. Um,
Yeah.
and I just saw it like maybe a week and a half ago on the
Oh,
West
really?
End again. Yes,
Oh, fun.
favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Uh, well, what do you feel like film and theater individually uniquely have to offer?
Oh, another great question. I think, you know, for me, theater is all about, I mean, cop out answer, but it's about the live experience. It's about the thrill of hearing people, I love musical theater. I also love non-musical theater, but
Yeah.
like the
Place.
thrill
Yeah.
of yeah, plays. But it's the thrill of for example, like are they gonna hit the note? Are they gonna, and it's the the sort of like the thrill of the whole thing, the institution of the whole thing, everybody being in the audience together,
Yeah.
sharing the experience. There's that whole ancient tidbit about like the study where people's heartbeats sync up when they're in the theater that they did. And I
Oh,
love that.
that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's something like eventually they'll start to beat at the same time.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And so the theater to me is more of an event, and it's more about, and I do theater, I've done theater my whole life. And so like I love the rehearsal process and it's such a
Hmm.
community builder and
Yeah.
um it's so fun to like actually be part of the creation of it. Um, and then film for me is more of a like hard and fast, like let's like the stories and like what are they
Mhm.
gonna say, and like let's analyze the,
Yeah.
let's all talk about it, and the discourse and the and the community and the and so it's more of a I'm not using any words, but it's the it's like Hollywood glamour and and then uh yeah, theater is this like beautiful community space.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that like theater, it's it's interesting because I think they are both provide the kind of the opposite things in many
Mhm.
ways. Like theater, it's you've had this moment that'll never happen again.
Exactly.
And you get to share it all together. So even if it's not the best, it's still like a uniquely powerful experience for good or evil.
Yeah.
Um, and whereas theater, it's like you can keep, I mean, whereas film, you can keep sharing that moment with everybody, your children, like you can watch and see them have that same moment. And yeah, there's pro shots and things like that, but still, it's, I think the archival quality of film is really
Yeah.
special.
And that's when you can get into the nitty-gritty and the details, and that's sort of why
Yeah.
it's like very interesting career, this very
Yeah.
interesting like academic sort of side of it has come out of it with film criticism, where people are,
Yeah.
attribute a lot of social merit, a lot of cultural like
Yeah.
meaning
It's true.
to what's going on. There's a lot of political context in a film that you can draw. It's a time capsule for what was going on in the world at the time.
Yeah.
So it's like there's so much that you can draw from something by just capturing it in the moment, and then like that is what it is, and then we can go back and look at it over and over and over again, and that's like its
Yeah.
own thing. And then you know
That's true. And it can mean something different. Like I saw Revenge of the Sith a couple weeks ago, and like in our current political context, it definitely speaks to you differently
yeah,
than when it first came out.
totally,
Mhm.
absolutely. And that's everything, and like that's
Yeah.
why we're able to just keep all these writers employed, all these like it's just we can we can look at everything from so many different angles. We can make so many different arguments that any film can be anything. And you can do that with a piece of theater too. You can
Hmm.
reimagine it, you can
Hmm.
restage it, but it's really interesting to like have, you know, a 2 hour piece of media just be what
Yeah.
it is, and then to have it's sort of like the sun, and all of the audience members are orbiting around it, whereas like in the
Hmm.
theater, it's a thing that moves. It's
Why do you think that so many of the Broadway shows have struggled to transition to the screen?
I
There's
think
been a couple good ones, but
yeah.
Wicked was good, but
Oh, I'm so passionate about stage to screen adaptation.
yeah.
I think that first and foremost, there's a re the medium itself, like there's a reason that things are created and the medium that they're created.
Hmm.
And so I think that, you know, like a musical, and not to say that like a musical always works better on stage, there's the musical movie has like roots in since film started, and
Yeah, I mean, I think that like Sound of
yeah.
Music is the ultimate
Oh,
example. It
yes.
it
And
is
there's
it is a much
yeah,
better movie than
than it is in the stage
than
show.
stage.
Absolutely. And
They
there
elevated it.
absolutely. And like I think that Chicago is a great
Mhm.
movie musical and is
Yeah, I mean, especially with Sound of Music, because they had somebody who wasn't afraid to move everything around, change things around,
yeah,
change where the
like
songs are,
more
change,
effective
add
here.
new songs, take songs
Right.
away. They made it its own thing
Right. That is
with that
more
movie.
effective. And and I think that they try to do that now, but they're just wrong, like with the
Mhm.
choices sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's certainly interesting, but it's just sort of, I think that there's just a disconnect between like understanding what makes something work when you're sitting in a theater
Mhm.
and seeing it, you know,
Yeah.
live, and then what would make that same thing work on a
What
screen.
would you say is, in your opinion, a little bit of overrated musical theater? And what do you think's a little underrated?
Like just musical
Yeah, on
period,
Broadway or yeah, musical theater.
overrated and underrated. Ooh, let me see. What do I think is overrated? I don't know. I'm trying to think of,
I can tell you mine.
yeah, tell me
Yeah.
yours.
I think that Six is
I
overrated.
knew you were gonna say that. I don't know why I knew that was gonna. Okay, let me tell
Didn't
you.
think it was that good. I didn't think it
No,
was
I
that
know it isn't
entertaining.
the
I
book.
wasn't like it was super short. I didn't
It
think
is
it
short.
like I was just kind of like, what?
Here was my journey with Six. I hated it before I saw it.
Mm,
I like developed this um predetermined like it seems stupid, like all of my
yeah,
friends hated on it. And then I had to go see it. Or I didn't have to, but I was
yeah.
given like a free opportunity to see it. And I thought it was really fun, and I thought it was some of the best singing I've ever heard, and I thought it was like I was pleasantly surprised by some elements. I do think the book is awful. And I
Mm.
think that
There's
it
barely any book to be had.
yeah, there's but the parts where they do speak, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
Um,
I was just like, this feels like the kind of thing that you see in Las Vegas in between gambling.
yeah. And it's
Like
like I
it
know it
didn't
does
feel
really
like
well
a
on a cruise ship.
musical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like here, go watch Six in between you're doing gambling. I mean, I don't know. I was just
Yeah.
underwhelmed by it. I just don't quite get it that why it's so popular, but
I think
it feels like a teeny bopper
it's for the
concert.
13-year-old
Yeah,
girls.
it
That's
is.
what it
Yeah.
is. And that's
Yeah.
why it's so popular.
I guess so. I guess so. But yeah, I mean a couple others that I definitely didn't love as much as most
Yeah.
people seem to love. I was not a big fan of the band's visit.
I wasn't that big on that one either.
I
I
was just
enjoyed
completely
it, but
underwhelmed by the
yeah,
story. And I've seen the movie and I like the movie. It's a slow
yeah.
burn film, but I don't know. I didn't think any of the songs were memorable.
Oh,
Except for Omar Sharif. That was the only song that I was like, oh, I don't know. I was just totally underwhelmed by it. I
yeah.
didn't think it was.
I liked Answer Me, that song. I remember that.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
definitely a hot take, but I wasn't that big a fan of Kimberly Kimbo.
Me either. Me either. I thought that one was weird.
Yeah, I mean, I
It
like
struck
it
me
has
as
heart and
strange.
soul, and I
Yeah.
appreciate some of the humor, but this plan by this aunt is completely insane, and that she would do
Yeah.
this to her, like make her supposedly beloved niece an accomplice to this thing
Yeah, to this
is
like whole a home
bizarre.
of children.
Yeah,
And
and I just
also,
didn't
yeah,
think the songs were that good. I
the
walked away
score is
being
terrible. Like there's no song I want to like listen to.
The Great Adventure, which is the last song of
Yeah.
the show. That was the only one that I was like, that's kind of a like.
Ye-
I was expecting it to be amazing because I'd heard
Right.
only raves.
It was no, it did not. For me, that was not it. You know what my I have a very hot take. Um I don't care for the current revival of Sunset Boulevard.
Mm. I've heard very, very mixed. The whole thing with the
Okay.
video, that would be. I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but that
Well,
doesn't interest me
I just
really.
these like, you know, new take like revivals with the videos and that like there's been
Yeah,
a couple of them, and I saw the
going out of the theater. Come on.
yeah, I really expected because I hadn't heard mixed reviews. I had heard only this is the best thing I've
Yeah.
ever seen, and it's going to change your life, and you're going to walk out of this theater anew. And so I went, And
Yeah.
I found the whole thing just like an utter eye roll.
Mm,
Cast is so
cringe.
talented. It's Sunset Boulevard is
Yeah.
like C tier Andrew Lloyd Webber show to begin with.
Hmm.
And so it's like a bad show and
I've
they
never seen it, but
it's
yeah.
it's like okay.
Yeah.
The movie's wonderful, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
But they just like it's just
Well,
trying
and to have such a young Norma Desmond is just weird.
it's so weird. The whole thing is so strict. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's just like trying really hard to be like
Yeah.
thing.
I tell
Um,
you, the other hot take that I have is
yeah,
I'm not a big Into the Woods person.
really.
Yes. I
Oh,
mean, I respect it for its role and its
yeah,
importance. And and whenever a community theater does it, which there's so many that do it here,
yeah,
and whenever they do it, I admire them because it's very difficult.
yeah.
But I just don't love it. I
Yeah.
just don't love the songs. I just don't love the second act and the subversion. And I guess I'm just a traditional fairy tale girl, and I would just prefer the traditional fairy tales, and it just feels kind of cynical to me, and I don't love it. I don't think it's great. I would way rather watch Company. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's way better. I think the songs are better. I like the story better. I just, yeah.
No, I
So,
hear you. I mean, I love Into the Woods, but I wouldn't want to sit through a production of it like anytime soon. I'm like sick to death of it.
yeah, it's a
I've been
lot.
in it like 3 times.
Oh, yeah. What'd you
Everyone I
play?
know has been in it like 3 times. You know, yeah, it's like we all do it. We all, I don't want to
I
get near
think it's
it.
more, I think it's that people enjoy doing it more than
Yes,
most
it's a
people
fun
enjoy
show.
watching
No
it.
one wants to watch it. No one wants to, yeah, it's
It's
totally
true.
fun to be in. It's
Yeah.
totally fun to be the fairy tale characters. But yeah, you're right. And like I mean, I enjoy the songs, the subversion. I'm sick of it now. I enjoy all of it
Yeah.
contextually when I first heard it. But I also know a lot of people that feel that way
Yeah.
generally about it. I think we're
It's
done.
weird because it's seen as like the family friendly Sondheim,
Yeah, but I
but
think
it's
it's just
really
weird
not
fairy tales. I think that people just don't think about it really.
because there's like
Yeah.
adultery. And I mean, it's really not that like it's messaging. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just saying that
No, no,
I
it
don't
is.
think I just wish that more people did maybe some of his more interesting pieces like
Yeah.
Assassins or
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen Sunday in the Park with George. I'd love to see that. I'd
I'd
love
love to
to,
see.
you
Yeah,
know. So
totally.
let's expand the palette. We'd like to take a second to thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Harpeth Road Publishing and Audrey Lancho and her new novel, The Silver Lining. Farrah Macon's heart is in shambles after being served divorce papers from a man she never intended to live without. Reeling, she leaves her big city life as an art gallery manager behind and finds herself back in her North Carolina hometown of Whitetail Ridge. At the ripe age of 29, she's living with her parents again, working as a nursing assistant and filling in at her family's vegetable stand at the local farmer's market. When everything seems to be falling down around her, Farrah runs into her old flame, James Abbott, all 6 feet of the charming curly-haired farmer, and can't help but remember what they used to have, but a secret might change everything. I was really, really impressed with this book. It combines emotion while still having all the romance that you want. It's a very good read, would be perfect for the summer. Definitely recommend checking it out, and you can purchase it wherever you purchase your books or using the affiliate code below. That's The Silver Lining by Audrey Lancho. Definitely check it out today. But well, what's your favorite of the current season of
Oh,
Broadway that you guys?
I think it's gotta be, I haven't seen quite a few. I have tickets lined up to see them, so my answer could very well change.
Yeah.
But of the ones I've seen, it's gotta be maybe Happy Ending.
Yeah, I can't wait to someday
Yeah,
see that. Oh,
it's really, really great. It's
that's good.
so, so exciting to see like a truly original show, like do be so good, genuinely like a really truly good score, really inventive, really moving story, really good performances, like just
Yeah.
solid all around. So really,
Yeah.
really big.
I've only I my last Broadway trip was in December, and so
Yeah.
I saw Elf and I saw
Oh,
What a Wonderful World, which was
oh
too
yes.
long. It was
I didn't
long.
get to see that one.
It was fine, but it was too long. And then I saw Death Becomes Her.
Ah, loved
That was
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Yeah.
Very, very funny. So I enjoyed that. That would be, I mean, because I've only seen those
Yeah.
shows. And I saw the Rockettes, which is always fun.
Oh,
But
awesome. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, but then, I mean, I wanted to I wanted to do a spring trip.
Hmm.
I just couldn't afford it this year. The plane
Yeah.
flights are so expensive right now. It's insane.
Oh, it's been a mess. I know.
Crazy. I mean, even just to go to Texas from
Yeah.
Utah was like $800
Oh my
just for
God.
Texas.
You.
It was wild. I mean, I swear it wasn't that long ago that a trip to Texas would cost like $250, you know?
Yeah. No, that's really out
It's really
there. That's
bad.
really outlandish.
So yeah, but if I was gonna say what I think are an underrated shows, I would
Yeah.
say that I think that I mean I love Bright Star. I think Bright Star was
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful show with beautiful music, deserved a longer run on Broadway. I've seen it countless times. I love that show. But I recently saw Bat Boy
Ah, I know
at Salt
Bad
Lake
Boy.
Acting
Yeah.
Company. I loved it. It
Bad
was
Boy's really
so
great.
good. I
Yeah.
loved the songs. I loved the story, and it was like a great mixture of humor and heart and some like horror elements in there. Thought that was really good. And its composer is Lawrence O'Keefe is his name. And
Yes.
I think he
Legally
is
Blonde or
totally underrated. Legally Blonde and Heathers.
yeah.
Those are all three
Yeah.
total winners, in my opinion.
Total winners. Yeah.
Really good. Really good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
But one of the
think.
most,
Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I love all three of those.
Yeah. No, I do too. Like and there are all three of those shows I think like are distinct to me for having like really solid musical themes that like they
Yeah.
sound like themselves. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like they sound
Yeah.
like when I hear it, I'm
Unique.
like that sounds like yeah.
hmm
Just
Unique. You come out like, oh, I want to check out that album.
mm-hmm.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
It was because I didn't know what to expect with Bat Boy. I had never heard anything about it, but I'd heard buzz about this production, and it was so good, this production. But I just walked away being like, that is a gem. How come no one's talking about this
Yeah,
musical? It was so good.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's so
that's
good.
that was a recent find for sure.
I'll have to give that Bat Boy a look.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
uh,
also love the musical The Spitfire Grill. I
yes,
think
yeah,
that's one that's very underrated.
it is really great. I that was one that we like floated doing in when I was in college quite a bit, but we never
Oh,
got to it, but it is really, really lovely.
yeah.
Um, I don't know if it's like quite as underground, but I'm like a really big Harry the Musical. Um,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um,
That's fun. I'm
yeah.
not the biggest Cursed Child fan.
Oh, me either. The
That
track is cool.
I've only seen the high school edition,
Okay.
which I understand. Obviously, they do it because of Harry Potter, but I understand why so many are doing it because it does have a ton of roles.
It
Like
does.
I think for high school, you want to pick a show that has a lot of speaking roles so that because how do you know if you're good at something if you never get a chance, if you never get to try
Yeah.
it, you know? So
Yeah.
you want one that has a lot of if it's a musical, a lot of solos, or has a lot of speaking roles, but then also has a lot of ensemble scenes.
Hmm.
And my sister did Into the Woods in her high school, and I'm like, that's a
There's
terrible
no
show for a high school
ensemble.
to do.
Yeah.
Not only do I not love it, but it has like no ensemble scenes,
And
none.
people forget it's Sondheim, so it's like
Like
difficult.
yeah, it's really hard,
Yeah.
and there's literally not one.
No.
Maybe the wedding you could say, I guess,
Yeah, or
have an
yeah.
ensemble, but
No, we literally, I like when we did it in high school, they cast an ensemble, and then I think by like three rehearsals in, they just all quit. There was nothing
there's nothing for them to
to
do.
do.
It's
Yeah,
true.
it
It's a
was
terrible show for a high school to do.
terrible. Yeah,
Like
they
when I
they'll
was in
figure it
high
out.
school, we did Bye Bye Birdie, and that's a great show for high
Great,
school to do.
do Shrek if you want to do the
Yeah.
fairy tale thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or Once Upon a Mattress would be, I think, much
mattress.
better
So much fun. Yeah.
for if you want to do the fairy tale thing, because it actually has like some scenes. But like Bye Bye Birdie is perfect because not only does it have teenage characters, so like, but also it has lots of solo scenes, and it has lots of ensemble scenes. You
Yeah,
know, the
totally.
group following Conrad, and there's just lots of places where you can, because I strongly believe for high school theater there should be no cuts.
Mm.
There,
Hmm.
anybody who wants to participate should be allowed to participate. Just stick somebody
Oh
else in
yeah.
the back. Just stick them.
Yeah,
You know,
trees.
yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
Again, because how do you know if you like something if you never get a chance?
Yeah, well, and I know a lot of people probably are discouraged by it by just being
Yeah,
up before they ever get to.
right.
And there are a lot of stories of like really successful,
Mhm.
famous, inspiring actors that are like, oh, I
Yeah,
was the tree,
it's
or
true.
whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you most look for in a Broadway musical? What do you think is the key to being successful?
I look for like the fusion, I think, of, you know, the elements all have to come together in a way that I think
Yeah,
makes sense because like it is a story with music. Um, I should feel like a sensation I get a lot in Broadway shows these days is like we just wrote some random songs and threw them in there. I
yeah,
want a score that feels infused with the story, and the story feels infused with the score, and the set feels like it all feels part of each other, and it feels
yeah,
inseparable from each other. And so like I love to just be able to listen to a Broadway soundtrack, to listen to a show tune and like feel the sense of character, feel the sense of story. And so I think I'm really
yeah.
just looking for integration, which sounds simple, but it's really like the number one thing that I have not seen like across the board. And um, I think I've only seen maybe twice in the past decade in
Mm,
like new
hmm.
shows, and
Yeah,
it's like really special
yeah.
when it does happen.
It's true. I feel like there hasn't been a new show to really capture the zeitgeist. Uh, that I mean, since Hamilton, what is that new show that I mean, been popular shows,
Yeah.
obviously, and but I mean, unless you count something like Merrily Roll Along or something like that.
Yeah, there are great productions that I think like absolutely do well, I
Yeah,
think
oh, absolutely. But something that's on that like higher level. I don't know. I can't really think of anything since Hamilton.
for me, like I think Hadestown
Mm, I could see
did
that.
like at least like, you know, all of the elements were there. Like I think people
Yeah,
have differing personal experiences with that show, and that's okay. But for me, objectively, like the score, story, design elements like are very elevated.
mm,
It's a very unique
yeah.
thing.
I could see
Um,
that.
you
Yeah, there's
know,
been some good stuff, but
yeah.
that higher level, I don't know, it's interesting. Well, let's dive into movies a little bit. Like, how do you think 2025 has been so far?
It's been interesting.
Yeah,
No, I keep having this conversation with people where I keep saying that I think it's a bad movie year, but I don't know that that's even true. I think I've just been saying that um maybe just to be a little bit antagonistic or something.
uh-huh,
I don't know. Because objectively, I mean, we have we've had Sinners, which has been a huge moment for movies, and that's been really exciting. And other than that, I guess we've had a few good ones, and it's only May, and we don't usually really know,
Yeah.
what the year looks like by this point. So I haven't had many that I've like personally really been struck by yet.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe that's why it feels kind of slow, but I can't say it's
Yeah. I've been
particularly
pretty positive about the movies,
good.
but yeah, nothing that I'm like, oh, this would probably be in my top 10 of the year.
Right.
So far. I mean, Warfare was very impressive, but
I
it's
didn't see it.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. Like I mean, it's just so immersive. Like you really
Yeah.
feel like you are there with these soldiers. There's no music, there's no like
Mm,
and so it's the kind of like it's I almost appreciate it more as like an archival historical piece
right.
of like okay, we're capturing what these people experience. Like it felt so real. But like do I love it? I don't really. I mean,
That was
it's
my
I'm
hesitation.
glad I had that experience and I'm glad I watched it, but I would never watch it again.
Exactly. It was just like I think that I recognize without even having seen it that this is like A for effort, like
Yeah.
good job. But I don't know that I would enjoy it. I don't know that I would sit down and have a good time watching this movie.
No.
And I might still check it out just because it seems like
I think
an impressive
everybody should
thing.
watch it. Just so
Yeah,
you've had that like you know what it's like to be with
right.
those people. I just think that's valuable, but yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I actually really loved a little movie called The Ballad of Wallace Island
Okay.
that I recommend. It I don't know. I don't understand why these studios pay all this money for Sundance movies and then they just drop them. They do nothing
I,
with them.
yeah, I
Like
totally
this
agree.
movie should be a hit. It's so crowd pleasing and charming and sweet and like I don't know. I just feel like you watch The Ballad of Wallace Island and you're like, who wouldn't like this movie? Like
Hmm.
it's so sweet and
I truly
cheering.
haven't heard it.
Yeah, it's really good and the music's really good. I hope it gets remembered at least for that for come Oscars. As far as original song, I think it's
Oh, good.
quite good and it's just a sweet little movie. I also loved most of my favorite movies this year have been at festivals,
Okay.
so Sundance and South by Southwest. But I really liked this crazy movie I saw at South by Southwest called Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy title. It's a crazy movie. I guess they're like this Nirvana, the band. I guess they're like a
Like a cover
troupe.
band?
No, they're like a troupe, like
Okay.
uh the oh my gosh, what Lonely Island guys or Second
Oh,
City
yeah.
or like they do anyway, and it's it's kind of the only way I could think to describe this movie is it's kind of like Borat in the way that like like you have a fictional character interacting with real people,
Oh,
right?
awesome.
So
Oh, I
that's the
love
same.
that.
They even have like people's face, like so you can tell that's a real person really responding to, and it's a time travel story. I was literally in tears laughing. It was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life, and I know that's probably overhyping it, but I
No,
really thought it was funny. And
I'm on board. Yeah.
yeah, you'd keep an eye out for it because I
Nirvana
think
the Nirvana the
Nirvana, the
band,
band, the show, the
show the
movie.
movie. Okay.
It's definitely my favorite movie of this year, but then I would probably say The Ballad of Wallace Island is probably my actual released favorite
Okay.
movie. Yeah. And then I also I really really enjoyed the latest Bridget Jones movie. I mean,
I did too.
I love that franchise. I love rom-coms. I thought it was so good.
It was really good. It was really like powerful.
Uh,
It
it was
felt
well written. It was
well written.
swoony. All the guys were super
Yeah. I
dreamy
love
and
that. I'm not gonna pronounce his name correctly, but I love that one actor, the actor that she ends up with.
Oh, Beautiful, Edgefor.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He was so good.
So good. And the guy from One Day also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super good.
all of I don't know anybody's name. But yeah, no, I really pleasantly enjoyed that film.
Yeah,
Like
it
I
was good.
it was really
I
good.
mean, I
Yeah.
was saying the other day that I mean, just as far because the second Bridget Jones movie is horrible, but
Yes.
aside from that, like that's a strong franchise
It is.
for really watchable, fun films.
Totally.
You
And
know?
yeah, I really don't feel like people talk about it.
No. Yeah.
I feel
And
like
it was so insane that they didn't release that movie in theaters. Like it's so frustrating because you they've all made money. They've all done well.
yeah,
And you had it literally coming out Valentine's weekend with nothing else, no competition. It's so frustrating.
that was
Yeah.
wow. I didn't even I knew it was only on streaming, but I didn't even clock that it was Valentine's weekend. I bet, nothing else did come out, huh?
No, there was this the hard eyes,
Oh yeah.
but horror. That was the only thing.
Ah, I feel like the rom-com is died.
It's so frustrating because
Yeah.
even you have something that I really think could do well, like Red, White, and Royal Blue. Like that was
Yes,
such a
it's such a
swoony
good
movie.
movie.
It was so well
Yes,
done. I
absolutely.
just believe that that would have done well in theaters.
It really would have like there's a lot that would have I just wrote an article about how I think the rom-com is dying because they made me watch The Hating Game. Have you seen
Oh
that?
yeah, I've seen that.
And I was like, this, I hate this. And,
Oh, you did?
it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
actually my second time watching it,
I don't think
unfortunately.
I was that bad, but yeah, I
It
get it.
wasn't, it's not, it's really not. I think I just have a vendetta right now. And
Well, it's frustrating because like if you love rom-coms like I do, you're kind of
yeah,
forced to go to Hallmark. There's nowhere else,
I know. And it's just
you
like,
know?
but it's baffling because like there's so clearly like a market
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
And
Huge
like,
market, and some of the most successful movies ever made have been
always,
romances. Like you
yes.
look at Ghost, you look at Pretty Woman, you look at The Notebook, you look at some of these
Yeah.
incredibly
Right.
profitable films.
And now, they just what they do is they still make these incredibly profitable films, but they just make them really poorly and quickly and
Yeah,
sloppily
for streaming.
on Netflix or
Yeah,
whatever, and they last for a week and then they fade into obscurity forever.
yeah. It's so
And it's just
frustrating.
like I don't know why it doesn't seem that much more difficult to just make like to just spend like a couple more months
Yeah,
and like think about it critically and make like
yeah,
a good one
yeah,
every now and then. But I
yeah.
guess they don't have to
Mhm.
financially, so they don't,
Yeah.
and so it's frustrating.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Merch Store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies Merch Store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
We're going to be assigned the task to make a Broadway musical out of a movie that hasn't been adapted. There's so many that have. What
Yeah.
would you pick?
I've been asked this also, and what I said this, and this is I can be fact checked. In a couple years ago, before they ever announced that they were making Death Becomes Her into a Broadway musical, there is video footage like on my TikTok of me saying I think Death Becomes Her would make a great movie
Oh,
musical.
really? Yeah.
I just want credit for that. Uh, I don't know, because I feel like anything like in the rom-com world, like I feel like my first thought was like 13 going on 30 for some reason.
They already did that.
Did I see?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're gonna have the thought before I do. Like Clueless, they're on it.
Yeah, it's true. They almost everything has been picked,
They're gonna find it.
but so you got to go kind of indie.
Yeah,
I
so
I
indie.
think that Ruby Sparks, did you ever see that movie?
Ooh,
That would make
yeah,
a
Ruby
great
Sparks would be
musical.
good. I'm a really big fan of the movie Lars and the Real Girl
Oh,
with
I could see that.
which would be a weird musical, but it's a weird movie.
Yeah, we need to get Lawrence O'Keefe on that. He would be
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. Lars
You
and Keith on the Lars and the Real Girl musical.
have it. What was your favorite movie last year?
My favorite movie last year, I believe, I publicly declared it was Memoir of a Snail, the Adam Elliott
Oh, okay.
animation movie. But I just really love Adam Elliott. I'm a really, really big fan
Yeah,
of his
yeah.
work. My second favorite was probably The Substance.
I know. Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah,
That
those
was really good. It was a pretty good movie year. Well, I take it back. It was, I think, a terrible movie year when it comes to studio films. There, aside from Wicked, there was hardly anything that I loved that was like a studio. I was like the biggest grump when it
yeah,
came to um most of the franchise films were, I thought, disappointing last
Dune.
year. But I did like The Wild Robot a lot.
Oh, I loved The Wild
That
Rose.
that was really sweet. And I did like I thought Inside Out 2 was much better than I thought it would be.
Yeah. I've always been a weird hater of the Inside Out films, just as
Oh
like a
yeah.
Pixar person. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like them. I do. I just like ever since the first one came out,
Yeah.
I've always like I guess I
Just
was
doesn't speak to you as much
yeah,
as
I don't
others.
know, as
I
somebody
can I can understand that. I loved the original. The sequel, it did have problems, but like I do think it makes no sense to have embarrassment, fear, and anxiety. Those are like totally
like which
redundant
emotions are we
emotions.
yeah.
And some of the other things there were problems, but overall I thought emotionally it paid off. And they did. I loved A Real
Yeah.
Pain. That was one of my
Oh, I
favorites.
love Real Pain too.
That was so good. I also loved a little movie called Musica that went,
Oh, yeah, with
yeah, it was
Mila.
another movie that I would have loved to have seen on the big screen. And then I absolutely loved a little movie called Hundreds of Beavers. Did you get
I
to see that?
loved Hundreds of
Yes.
Beaver. Oh my God.
It was
I actually just
so
watched that
funny.
for the time a couple nights ago and I lost my mind over it. I
Yes.
was like, yeah, I was like, I can't believe I didn't see this sooner.
Was so creative and it was so just I loved
Good.
everything about it. The visuals. I loved that when they kept coming back
I
to
was
the
laughing so
gags.
yeah. It's so funny. Like the whole way through, there's so many bits
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely everybody should see that movie. I was
Yeah.
I was
And they
blown.
made it for like $150,000,
I know. I
which
just
is
like I
amazing.
giggle to myself thinking about them making the movie, which is a really great like them
Yeah.
wearing suit like beaver suits
And
and
it was so
raccoon
fun. They did
yeah,
a re-release. It was actually the very first movie in cinemas I saw this year was
yeah.
Hundreds of Beavers. And it, like it was awesome. There were people in like wearing cosplay, and it was like a full crowd. And because I think they only had the two screenings. So
Oh, that's so
it
fun.
was like the best environment to watch
I
that
need to
movie.
be there.
Yeah.
My other favorite movie of last year, I think, was also Sing Sing. Did you see Sing Sing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the one that I was just like most upset didn't get anything Oscars wise. I think that was pretty egregious that they did that.
Yeah. It definitely I admire what they were trying to do with that and what they accomplished as far as the like especially that supporting actor. I can't think of his name,
Yes.
but he was really, really good.
Yes.
And So yeah, I can see that. I also really loved a little horror movie called Strange Darling.
I
Thought
saw
that
Straight.
was so good. In my opinion, that was maybe the best. It and Real Pain were the best screenplays, in my
Mm,
opinion, of the year. It was so like the structure of it with Strange Darling and what they managed to make you go from like how you feel about the the final girl at the beginning
yeah.
to how you feel about her at the end, and then flipping how you feel about this man. You think, oh, he's like terrible, and by the end you actually feel sorry for him. I thought that was very well
Yeah, it
done.
was very clever.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. It was an interesting year, but yeah, there was like a rough time there where I felt like such a grump because I didn't like the I didn't like I didn't like Mad Max, the Furiosa as much as most. I didn't like the Apes movie. I thought was so boring. I did not
Yeah, I
care for
can't wait
that.
to see Apes movies.
Yeah, there was yeah, it was I don't know. I liked the previous one, but I just thought that was such a generic story and I was totally underwhelmed by all the characters and I don't know. I just thought it was so lame. I was not a fan.
Fair. I don't like I don't like monkey movies too too uncanny for me a
Yeah.
little bit. I think I've seen like one of the modern Planets of the Apes.
Oh yeah.
It was like this is
They
I'm
can be quite good, especially
I'm
Dawn
sure.
was
Oh,
my
I know.
favorite,
I've
but
heard very
yeah,
good things,
I
but
did not like.
I get scared.
All right. Well, we got some get to know you questions
All right.
to close out the interview. So,
Sure.
first question, what's the best ice cream flavor?
Um, Cookie dough.
Nice. Yeah. What's your favorite color?
Green. Hands down.
Nice. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What is your favorite Broadway cast recording? Original cast recording?
The Falsettos Revival.
Oh,
That's recording.
that's a good one. Yeah. All right. What is your go-to date night food?
Date night food? Maybe like some pad thai.
Huh?
I
Good.
don't know if
Yeah.
that's like strange, but it seems safe enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't want anything that's like too smelly or too messy.
No, but it's just like a nice meal. It's like food,
Yeah.
it's still we're still eating. It's not
Right.
avoid it. Yeah.
All right. So we have some and ors as far as Broadway. So
Okay.
next.
All right.
Mama Mia or Jersey Boys?
Mamma Mia.
Wicked or The Lion King?
Wicked.
Annie or Matilda?
Matilda? Yeah.
Uh, Into the Woods or Company?
Company.
Where I
Yeah.
stand. Phantom or Joseph?
Ooh, Phantom. Yeah.
Uh, In the Heights or Hamilton?
Hamilton.
Chicago or Cabaret?
Cabaret.
The Music Man or Annie Get Your Gun?
Sorry, that made me laugh. The Music Man.
Les Miserables or Sweeney Todd?
Oh, that's a hard one, but I have to go Les Miserables.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good. All
Yeah.
right. Dogs or cats?
Dogs. Hundo P.
Beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
What's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Halloween.
Ah,
I
what's
love
your most epic Halloween costume?
most epic.
Yeah.
I don't know. This past year I was Peter Griffin. That performed for
Oh,
people.
yeah,
Was a hit. Yeah.
that's good. I
Well.
was a Tracy Turnblatt one year. That was fun.
Oh, that's fun.
That was a
From like which
favorite.
iteration? Just
The yeah, the with the opening with the yellow skirt and the big
oh
hair.
yeah.
Yeah. And so what is your last question? What is your favorite movie musical?
I mean, it's got to be the objectively wrong answer, labeled 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's not the best, but it is my
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I would battle between Sound of Music and Singing
Yeah.
in the Rain. I think
Oh,
those
they're both great. Yeah.
both really good.
Sound
I
of
would
Music
probably
is
pick Sound of
the
Music.
best. Yeah.
Is my favorite. I think
So,
it's a little too long. I get it, but I don't know. I just love it. And I watched it on like repeat as a little girl, like
uh,
again and again. Well, I guess technically my favorite, if you're including animation, it would be The Little Mermaid would be my favorite.
oh, I mean, yeah, like Beauty and the Beast is my like
Yeah.
Disney nostalgia favorite. That was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Well, very good. You did it. You answered all the questions.
Yay, we did.
We'll definitely have you back because I'm always talking all things theater and
Oh, love it.
film. And so this was so much fun to get to know you. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you so
it.
much for having me on.
And if people want to follow you on like social media, stuff like that, how do
Yes,
they do that?
it's Sarah's Casual Reviews on pretty much everything on Instagram, TikTok. Those are the main ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And yeah, you can find me at Rachel's Reviews all over the place and at Rachel's Reviews Theater for my theater reviews and rachelsreviews.net for my film reviews, plus here on the channel. And make sure you follow me on the social medias because I do out of theater reactions for all content that I theater and film. So you want to check that out. And make sure you check out my female film critics playlist for all of the episodes of the series. I would really appreciate that. And check out the patron group. That's the biggest part of everything we're doing. And you can be part of watch alongs and Q&As. We've had some pretty cool people on for our Q&As. Like we had Lacey Chabert one time. We had James Denton. We had Mary Lou Henner. That was cool. So check out the patron group and the merch store. We have I'm a Theater Girl shirts. If you we have lots of really fun designs in the merch store. So check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.